versus Chimaev. Tomorrow night, the combat sports leader returns to Chicago for the first time in 6 years, and we are bringing the heat with a middleweight title matchup for the ages. South African champion Dricus Still Knox du Plessis is set to make the third defense of his title. It comes against Chechen force of nature, the challenger Khamzat Wars Chimaev. Plus, in the co-main event, featherweight contender Lerone the Miracle Murphy tries to stay undefeated as he welcomes the highly touted Aaron Pico to the UFC. And we've also got a featured bout with two of the welterweight division's top 12 as Jeff Hands of Steel Neal faces Carlos the Nightmare Prates. We would like to thank our UFC sponsor, Prime Hydration, the official sports drink of UFC. And on behalf of UFC and On Location, we send a special welcome to our UFC VIP experience guests joining us today here in Chicago, Illinois. We hope to see all of you once again for the live action at United Center tomorrow night. And now for the call of the weigh-in for UFC 319. Here is Joe Rogan.
What's happening, Chicago? Welcome to the weigh-ins. How about it for the Octagon girls? Brooklyn, Chrissy, Vanessa, Dana White. Without him, none of this would be possible. Hunter Campbell, Sean Shelby, and Mick Maynard, matchmakers extraordinaire. And we got an amazing card for you, ladies and gentlemen. We kick things off in the flyweight division, the top flyweight finale. Alibi Idris versus Joseph Morales. First up on the scale, Joseph Morales, official weight 126. And his opponent, Alibi Idris. Official weight 126. The Ultimate Fighter flyweight finale, ladies and gentlemen. Alibi Idris and Joseph Morales. The next fight takes place in the women's flyweight division. Karine Silva versus Dione Barboza. First up on the scale, Dione Barboza, official weight 125.5. And her opponent, Karine Silva. Official weight 125. Dione Barboza and Karine Silva, ladies and gentlemen. The next fight takes place in the lightweight division. Edson Barboza versus Drakkar Klose. First up on the scale, Drakkar Klose, official weight 156. And his opponent, Edson Barboza. Official weight 155.5. Drakkar Klose and Edson Barboza, ladies and gentlemen. Next, we move to the ESPN and ESPN Plus prelims. We kick it off in lightweight division. Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez. First up on the scale, Alexander Hernandez, official weight 156. And his opponent, Chase Hooper. Official weight 155. Alexander Hernandez and Chase Hooper, ladies and gentlemen. The next fight takes place in the women's strawweight division. Jessica Andrade versus Lupe Godinez. First on the scale, Lupe Godinez, official weight 115. And her opponent, Jessica Andrade. Official weight 116 for the former champion. Lupe Godinez and Jessica Andrade, ladies and gentlemen. The next fight takes place in the middleweight division. Gerald Meerschaert versus Michal Oleksiejczuk. First up on the scale, Michal Oleksiejczuk, official weight 186. And his opponent, Gerald Meerschaert. Official weight 185. Michal Oleksiejczuk and Gerald Meerschaert, ladies and gentlemen. Next, we move to the feature bout on the prelims. Vysander Sosterkayev versus Eric Nolan. First up on the scale, Eric Nolan, official weight 183. And his opponent, Vysander Sosterkayev. Official weight 186. Eric Nolan and Vysander Sosterkayev, ladies and gentlemen. Next, we move to the main card. Live on pay-per-view, we kick things off in the flyweight division. Tim Elliott versus Kai Asakura. First up on the scale, Kai Asakura, official weight 126. And his opponent, Tim Elliott. Official weight 126. Kai Asakura and Tim Elliott kicking off the pay-per-view, ladies and gentlemen. The next fight takes place in the middleweight division. Jared Cannonier versus Michael Venom Page. Official weight 186. Gentlemen, the next fight takes place in the welterweight division. Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. Official weight 170 for the Nightmare. Jeff Hands of Steel Neal. Official weight 171 for Mr. Neal. And Jeff Neal, ladies and gentlemen. Next fight is the co-main event of the evening in the featherweight division. Lerone Murphy versus Aaron Pico. Official weight for Aaron Pico, 145. Opponent, Lerone Murphy. Official weight 146 for Mr. Murphy. That's going to be a hell of a fight, ladies and gentlemen. Aaron Pico and Lerone Murphy. And now let's take a closer look at the two men involved in the main event of
downside submission, so I take him down and smash him, you know.
I'm the kicker!
I will prove to this guy and to the world I am the greatest.
Ladies and gentlemen, for all the marbles for the middleweight championship of the world, introducing the challenger, Hamzat Chimaev. Official weight 183 for the challenger. And his opponent, the reigning, defending, undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Dricus Duplessis. Official weight 185 for the champion. Hold on. We're good. Hamzat. All emotions aside, this is a very important fight. It's a huge fight. You're one of the most dangerous challengers to ever fight for a title. This is a huge moment for you. Tell us what tomorrow night means to you.
Just gonna go fuck this boy up, you know. One day, he has only 1 day left, so he's dead tomorrow.
The challenger, ladies and gentlemen, Hamzat Chimaev. How are you, sir? I'm here with the champ, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's see if they run out of steam as quick as last night.
Drickus, another title defense for you, maybe one of the most challenging ones. Give us your thoughts on Khamzat as an opponent and what happens tomorrow night.
He's an absolute beast of an opponent, but I can tell you this, I'm putting that man to sleep. Whether he be on the ground, whether I'm knocking him out, I'm taking out your boy, and all of you will be cheering. I can just know it like every other time.
The champ, ladies and gentlemen, Drickus du Plessis. Thank you very much, Chicago. We'll see you tomorrow.